Start off with a magazine rip transition. Really cool. So I'm going to just go ahead and Shift Command D, cut my clips and move them on top of the clip that I want to transition from. And just make sure that the cuts are clean. Select our first upper clip and the square masking tool. And we're just going to click and drag from the top left hand corner all the way to the bottom right hand corner. This will create our first mask. We want to have the face in the center. Just double click on the mask and drag it over. Click the layer again to move the mask with the clip. Repeat this process for the second clip, just clicking and dragging on the mask handle. This one, we're just going to grab the face of that one. Click and drag by selecting that layer first. Now you're just going to preview really quickly and make sure everything is in the right sequence, and we're going to freeze each of these panels on their last frame. Right click, time and freeze on last frame, just like so, because we want them to appear one after the other, not disappearing as the next one comes. Now we're ready to add our rip effect. Select our first clip. We're going to add more points, so we're going to select G for the masking, the pen tool, and just adding points to our panel just to make it look like a ripped piece of paper. We're going to repeat this for the other two panels. I find that going at an angle looks quite nice, but you can choose whatever you prefer. Making it look natural. Try not to have the nose, so don't click and drag, just click. That'll get you some rough edges. Selecting roughen edges in effect and presets. For the border, I'm going to make it 10 and complexity 3 and edge sharpness 10 as well. And we're going to select the edge type as spiky. Then what we're going to do is create a new solid to go underneath each of these layers. Command D, so we're going to duplicate that 3 times over for each of the layers, and we're going to reorganize them. And then cut them down again. Shift Command D or Shift Control D on your computer. Go ahead and select M on our keyboard to open up the mask and copy it. Select that and Control V to the solid layer, orange solid layer. The same thing for the effect, so copy roughen edges from our original video layer to our solid orange layer, just there. Alright, going to do the same with this layer now. Deselect this icon here so I can get rid of that orange frame there and I can see it a lot clearer. We'll just do the last one there. Same thing. Make sure you double click the point to drag the whole mask. We don't want to drag one point at a time. Just hit shift on your keyboard to select all your layers except the bottom layer. Search in fractal noise. Fractal type, we want threads. We want the blending mode to be overlay as well. For opacity, we want 30. And spline for the noise type. There we go, that looks like a nice texture. We're going to select each of our clips. I'm selecting the bottom two. Right click to pre-compose. And do the same, shift and select your 2 layers for your second panel, and shift and pre-compose your layers for the third panel. So now we're going to add the page turn effect. Make sure your playhead is at the beginning of your first panel, that's really important. Just look for the little center control here on your screen and drag that all the way to the top. Add a keyframe to fold position. Go a couple frames before the second panel and just bring that down until panel is flat. I have to zoom out for this. That's it. Then we're going to do the exact same thing with the second panel. Select it at the beginning, add page turn effect, bring that fold position to the top, add a keyframe and pull it all the way down again and add another keyframe. Repeat the same thing for the last one, but this time we're going to select the fold position from the bottom left corner so that it looks a little bit more symmetrical. Deselect all your frames and press U on your keyboard to open up the keyframes. We're just going to select all those and press F9 on our keyboard and select motion blur. Don't forget to select the large one as well and play that back. Love to see it. Next we're going to be doing a little camera flash. First thing we're going to do is select a solid. We want to select a white solid. We're going to bring that all the way down and clip it to where your two clips end, just sitting on top there. Search for linear wipe in the effects and presets. Add that to your solid layer. Deselect the timer icon on transition completion and set it to 50. Cut where the two clips change over. Go over to your second half of your solid. Change the wipe angle to +90 and transition completion to 50. Press T on your keyboard to open opacity. Add a keyframe to the center, then go to the end. Set that to 0 and go to the beginning. Set that to 0 as well. So we're going to create like this little mountain gradient to the second half of the solid layer, and we're just going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to search for CC light rays in effects and presets to both the clips. Drag the center, which should be a little red symbol, all the way to the edge just to get that perfect V-ray, just like a camera. And again for the second half of the solid, like so. Make sure you can see that V-ray because that's part of the camera flash. So we're going to select the first layer, duplicate the layer, then we want to add black and white to the bottom layer. After that we want to select the top layer and add a leave color effect. Grab the color picker there and select that pink. Set tolerance to 17 and amount to decolor to 100. Go up into our masking tool by pressing G. Make sure you select your layer, and we're just going to outline, color key the entire face. Just move those points outward, reset tolerance to 0 and amount to decolor to 25. And now notice that the mask is not following the path, so we're going to keyframe the mask path at the beginning of your clip and just go along. You can double click one of your points to move the whole mask as you go. Otherwise you can select the layer and individually move the points. For this one I'm just moving the entirety of the mask across, frame by frame, and there we go. Play that back and make sure it's following correctly. Then we're going to search for stylized glow. Change color channels to alpha, the glow radius to be 191, composite original is on top. Change color A from white to a nice pink hue. There we go, beautiful, looks hectic. Alright, there we have it, beautiful pink hue. So what we're going to do is go into our clip, select that clip and change the brightness and contrast just to elevate that ray as it comes on. So I'm doing -56 and contrast 47. Then we're going to select down here near FX, right facing arrow, we're going to double click for that one. Then go over to time, enable time remapping. We want to add a keyframe at the beginning of our clip and then a keyframe where we want our clip to end. I'm just going to click and drag right until we find the end of our clip. Then head back to your first keyframe and click and drag that right as well to get a slow-mo effect. Then we're going to search for light rays and we're going to keyframe the center again. So find where the dart icon is, then keyframe that on our first frame and move along the timeline, just dragging that along a vector in your object or character. I'm just doing the arm and the head. Then when you reach the end of your keyframe sequence, we're just going to bring that dart icon all the way out of the frame and do the same for the beginning. So we're going to bring that all the way out of the frame before it goes into its first sequence, like so. You'll get this beautiful light ray Y2K style scrapbook effect. We're just going to go ahead and select our masking tool or press G on your keyboard, and we're going to mask a good few pixels or so away from our target subject or character. We want to make sure we keep our points quite jagged as well. We don't want to be clicking and dragging to get these nodes, because that'll make it into a curved mask. So just go all along your character, kind of creating a jagged effect as you go. Click M on our keyboard to open up mask, and we're going to add a keyframe to mask path at the beginning of our clip. Then if we zoom in using the mountain icon, we can frame by frame adjust that mask so that it moves in sync with our character or object. And you can alternate the jaggedness of your mask as well, just so that it has this really cute kind of crumply paper effect. Deselect this icon here like before, just to see the product a little bit better. Once you're happy with your mask, you can head over to effects and presets and search for roughen edges. We're going to apply that to the first layer, and again spiky for edge type. Right click to select a new solid, and some I'm going to be using white just to change it up a little bit. We're going to bring that layer all the way down underneath our yellow layer there, trim it to shadow that yellow layer as well. Then it's really important here that you play it back to make sure that the mask is fitting correctly and that your keyframes are shadowing each other on both layers. So what we want to do now is offset that a few pixels from your yellow layer, and also press U on your keyboard to check on your keyframes. Sometimes they might be skewed. Press Shift on your keyboard and select fractal noise to both of those layers. Again, we're going to have overlay for the blending mode, threads for the fractal type, brightness set to 50, contrast 100, complexity 10, and opacity 50. Alright, bring in that original background that we had from our file, so I'm going to click that, pop that underneath both the yellow and the red layer. Select both layers, add a drop shadow, double click, change the distance to 10 and softness to 10. Then we're going to go to our first layer and we're going to move that drop shadow to the opposite side. So if I had it on my right, it would then be on my left, and there we have it. Beautiful pop out effect. It's giving me Katie vibes. Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!